So Adrian, one of the points you make in the book, which I think is very powerful, is this link between the organisation structure and customer experience. In other words, a lot of companies are very outward focused, this is what we're going to deliver to our customers, and perhaps don't look inwards and think, well, actually, are we best placed to even do that? And it's a question that you raise in the book, and I think it's a good one. So maybe you can explain how companies need to think.
I think that we know that the world is changing, and the world is changing very, very fast. But we still organise our companies largely based on traditions that come from the 20th century. It's very much production line, sort of like by function and so on and so forth. But as we move into this, further into the 21st century and things, do change, I think we have to start questioning everything and what we do and how we do it. Now, I'm not saying that there's any right or wrong answer to this, but the important thing is asking the question, is to say, if this is the experience that we want to deliver, is our organization set up in the best way to deliver that experience? Now, the answer might be yes. The answer is maybe no. The answer might be, oh, well, maybe not quite right, because otherwise, if we don't ask the question, we end up getting to that point where we're trying to put a square peg into a round hole, or vice versa. So I think it's going to be a challenge for companies going forward to figure out how they can become more adaptable, more flexible in terms of their organizational structure and how they work with their customers and their employees to deliver the experience that they want. Because if we can't just assume that a fixed structure is going to be suitable for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years at a time.
So it's interesting because you hear about companies, in fact all companies really would say they're customer centric and customer focused, and yet in marketing my experience is they're normally not. But they think they are, they're not lying, they're not. And would that be true of organisational structure as well? Because you'd be saying, really, look, start with the experience in mind, this is the experience we want to deliver, and then work back to, well, how do we need to be to create that best experience? Whereas, of course, most companies don't. They start with, this is who we are, we've got to go and deliver that to customer, now let's go do it.
Sure.
Would you say you've got to start inside out and think the other way?
I think that's fair. I think that's one way to do it. I think there's other ways that you can do it. I mean, there's a company I talk about in the book called G Adventures, and they changed their organizational structure, but that's not necessarily the most important thing. The structure is not necessarily the more important thing. What's the most important thing is what they did with their people that were on the front line. Is they just said, right, fine, we're not going to have a CEO anymore, or rather we are going to have a CEO, we're going to have about 200 of them, because all of our frontline people are going to be chief experience officers. We're going to empower them, enable them with the right sorts of tools and skills and training and so on and so forth to be the person that is completely in charge of delivering the best experience for our customers. So it's not you're in a function and you're only responsible for A, B or C. Actually, we're going to give our people on the front line the responsibility and the tools and the accountability to be able to deliver A to Z experience. So that's the organization sort of has changed to accommodate that, but actually it's more about, like you say, is that they're designing for the experience. They're enabling their people to deliver the experience that they want. And the organizational structure actually is sort of secondary to that, because they're actually focused on the experience.